there, welcome or welcome back to Oops, I Planted Again. My name is Courtney, and today I'm here to tell you that your alocasia is not dead. You have an amazing opportunity to rehab and regrow your alocasia, and I'm going to talk about my process on how I do that in today's video. The great thing about the alocasia is that it grows different than other house plants. Normally, a house plant like a pothos or philodendron, they generally grow from the node, and I'll show you what that looks like right here. So you can basically grow it any which way you want. And with an alocasia, you can also grow it in multiple different ways, but it has a corm instead, which I kind of think it makes it a little bit easier to regrow and have that plant again, even if the foliage dies off and there's literally no roots or anything at all. You still have an opportunity to rehab and regrow that alocasia, and I'm going to share 4 methods that I use and the 3 mediums that I use to do this. The 4 methods that I use are drainless potting, water as the only medium, just in a little cup that also doesn't have drainage, and then I do straight in soil with drainage, and then the last method is in a moss leca perlite combination. So like I said, there's 4 different methods that I use, but there's only 3 mediums that I use, kind of like 3-ish, 4. But I use a combination of everything because I just like to experiment, and there are ones that are going to work for some people and ones that aren't. So you get to choose any which one that is going to work for you, or experiment just like me. The first method that I'll talk about is probably, I think this one is the easiest one, and that is just sticking the corm in soil and treating it like a regular house plant. I have currently with me right here, these are all Alocasia green goddesses, and I got this from the mother plant. We have a new leaf right there. And all I did for this was stick that corm back in the soil, and I would just water it regularly. And that was it. And this process, I think, is the easiest in my opinion, because once it's in the soil, like, you can just leave it in there. And the other methods, you kind of have to like repot eventually at some point. So I think if you want to start with something that you probably already have, which is soil in a pot, then you can just stick it right in there. And at the end of this video, I'm going to give you a bunch of tips to ensure that any method that you use is successful. This is the next method I use, which is just a little prop box. So at the bottom, you can see I have perlite and leca, and then at the top, the corms are growing in moss. So the reason why I like this method is because I think I had like 10 black velvet alocasia bulbs, and I thought, why not put them in a prop box, but try it a little bit differently than I have in the past. So I really do enjoy having moss with growing alocasia bulbs, but something that I ran into last year when I was rehabbing alocasias was that if you're using moss, you have to make sure that you're able to retain that moisture. So with this method, all I really have to do is make sure the bottom is filled up, and I've probably only filled it up once or twice since I put all of these. I think there's like 11 in here. I did a video on how I made this prop box, and I think there's like 11 in here, and I'm gonna pull one out. Normally I wouldn't touch anything, but I want to show you what it looks like. I'm gonna try to be really gentle so you can kind of see how yours can grow. Oh my gosh, I want to be gentle. Oh goodness. Oh, these roots though. Oh girl. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to be so gentle because I don't want to like disturb it. But holy crap, look at this. Look at these roots. So with this method, what I really like about it is like I can leave these in here as long as I want and they'll start growing that foliage, or I can pot this up right now. I could use any type of the mediums that I like and basically just put this in the pot and continue to treat it like a regular plant. Now, I will probably just leave all of them in here because I want to see how much they can grow, like where I can get them to grow. And I don't know, I just think it'll be a fun experiment to show you what they look like in 6 months. And if I even had to like take them out of the box because they're overgrown. So like I said, this is all black velvet alocasia bulbs, and that is what they look like. The next method is just simply using water to get those roots. And this is probably my least favorite. I know a lot of people like this, but I actually just put these in here maybe a week or two ago. And this is from my fry deck. So I've done the water method before, but in my opinion, I think it's slow, but I still wanted to do it with the fry decks because honestly, I just threw them in here and I didn't think twice about it because I'm always like cleaning, reorganizing in this room anyways. And I had left them out and I was like, oh crap, I left these out. I need to like hydrate them and get them to be ready to grow. And the issue for me with this method is, well, because it's in such a small container, I have to continuously fill it up, but not enough that they're completely saturated, like completely covered in the water, because I want to make sure they have that airflow, like they have like circulation. They're not drowning in water only. So this is probably my least favorite method to grow, but it is an option for you because all you need is water. And then once those roots are established, then you can pot it up in any medium that you want to. And the last method that I'm going to show you is the drainless potting method. I actually did a video where I just recently repotted this plant into this method. Now it did have this single leaf, but honestly in that video you can tell it was on its way out and it did have some roots. But I wanted to show you how this was growing because we already have a new leaf. I didn't even make that video. I think it was like a month ago. So this is obviously another great method that combines basically all of the other methods that I talked about. So you have the soil right here, and then at the bottom we have the perlite and leca. So essentially you would be doing the same thing as you would with the only using soil. You would just stick the corm in there and you would only have to keep this part filled up, and that leca would ensure that the roots and the corm are getting the proper moisture. So yeah, it'll regrow. And I just wanted to share this method with you because it works and I love it. Now, here are the tips that you need to be successful with any of these methods. The first thing is you have to make sure that these plants have humidity. So the ones that I have that I put straight into soil, they live in my grow tent. Now, if you don't have a grow tent, not a big deal at all. You can use a plastic bag and just cover it. But one thing I want you to be sure of is to at least poke a hole in there or take off the bag once every day for like a couple hours, because air circulation is also very important when it comes to rehabbing and regrowing pretty much any plant, but especially Alocasias. Yes, they love humidity and they love being moist, but they also need airflow. And speaking of moisture, they need to stay moist. Any medium that they're in, they need to stay moist. That is how they're going to grow the best. So even in the winter, you're probably still going to be watering more than you are your other plants because Alocasias love being moist. They absolutely love it. My next tip is to ensure that you're treating your plant like a regular plant, even if you don't see anything happening with it. I think that's one of the big things with Alocasias and rehabbing them and regrowing them is that it's going to take a while. Like I made that prop box video maybe a month ago. I'll link it above. And look how amazing those roots are. I feel like they don't grow as quickly necessarily as house plants that have the node, but I still think they're going to grow successfully. And that leads me to my last point, which is to just be patient. It is a plant. It's a little living being, and you need to be patient with the rehabbing and regrowing method. But the thing about it is I love that you have so many options to do this, and you can experiment with any combination really, and you're gonna find something that you love to grow. Like me, I love all of these methods to grow Alocasias, and if I could pick one that's probably my favorite is probably the moss one because the roots grow insane and you can kind of see it more clearly. But the easiest one, I think, in my opinion and in my experience, has been the soil method. If you have an Alocasia right now, you're going to be successful. I promise you. Okay? If you have any questions about my process or any questions at all about growing Alocasias, make sure you drop them in the comments below. I want to thank you so much for watching today's video, and I will see you in the next one.